This is the Watchman, giving another clarion call to the Brotherhood. Now, folks, over the last several weeks, there's been some extreme turbulence going on in the currency markets, not the least of which has been concentrated around the Russian currency itself, the ruble. In fact, since the beginning of the Ukraine crisis, which we all know was a direct product of US-UK meddling through a political coup which they fabricated during the Winter Olympics, which Russia was busy hosting, and since that time, the ruble's exchange value versus the US dollar has been basically cut in half in a single calendar year. Okay, that's a hard knock, folks. There's no two ways about it. The reason why I'm choosing to address this topic, though, is that there are some out there who are looking at Russia, at the Putin administration, or at the ruble in particular, and basically freaking out, asking things like, Watchman, what do you think about the Ruble situation? Is that it for the Kremlin's attempts to break free from the Western banksters? Is it done for? Is Russia going down? Here's my short answer to those three questions. No, no, and no. But I suspect y'all may want some reasoning behind those answers. So here are a few reasons for why I believe that Russia and its currency are going to be just fine. First of all, let's not beat around the bush here. Let's make it crystal clear what's really causing all of this. Yes, plunging oil is putting pressure on the ruble, but who's really causing the oil plunge? Right? We know Saudi Arabia has already admitted that they're directly helping exacerbate the oil price fall so that partially they don't lose market share to the U.S. shale competitor upstart, but chiefly, we all know it's to hurt Russia. Everyone knows it. Now, who does Saudi Arabia take its marching orders from? That's right. We know who they take their orders from. Now hear me. The ruble is not a casualty of mere currency speculation, nor is it a mere casualty of falling oil prices. Not to this extent, folks. This sort of unique carnage we're seeing in a resource-rich, debt-poor, and gold-rich country could only be the result of something else. Okay, the ruble is chiefly the victim of another force, something with incredible sway. This is the work of the banking dragon we spoke of in the city of London, lashing out, desperately trying to take down some of their competitors who are trying to rise up, who have the gall to break away from the DC London controlled financial system, pure and simple. Which brings me to the main reason why I believe the ruble and Russia will get through all of this despite being mauled by the banking dragon. And that is China. I've thought this for a while, and now, lo and behold, on Zero Hedge, we see that China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange, or SAFE, is noting aloud they're closely monitoring the ruble slide and will seek ways to perhaps make a line of credit available to them or a currency swap tool in order to salvage, at the very least, all the outstanding currency swap treaties they've been busy signing with each other. Now, Russia will come out of this okay due to China, who considers its business, political, economic, and even military partnership with Russia to be indispensable to their national security. Now, they've spent the last decade now painstakingly mapping out currency swap agreements, trade agreements, high-speed railway agreements, technology sharing agreements, and now energy pipeline agreements. And by the way, people, China knows exactly who's behind the ruble weakness and Russia's current dilemma. And China is not about to let its mortal enemies in London and DC take down its strategic partner. No way is that going to happen. So why aren't they stepping in? Why haven't they stopped in to help Russia yet and stop the ruble hemorrhaging? Well, that's a good question. I think it really comes down to this. While China is a key partner and ally with Russia, they're also human beings. They're opportunists. Okay, they're only human. They don't want to buy something when it's high. They want to buy it on the cheap, including political favors, future energy deals, and the Russian currency itself. Why step in and stabilize the ruble early on when they could do so later for far less? Now, not too far less, again, because remember, a strong and stable Russia means safety and security for Beijing. China is the reason that those who are smart are probably going to start stepping in soon to buy Russian companies, to buy Russian stocks, to buy the Russian rubles. China will do what's in its own self-interest. And they've told you, and all of us multiple times, that a strong Russian partner is something that is chiefly in its self-interest because it's invaluable and irreplaceable to the security and safety of Beijing. And I believe they mean what they say. Listen, you got to remember, in the 19th century, when the city of London attacked India and China, both of those countries learned some very hard but valuable lessons. One, the banksters must be drained of as much gold as humanly possible, which the BRICS are already doing, as I've already extensively covered recently in my Silver Knockout series. But just as importantly, this banking beast can only be effectively resisted and beaten if they all stick together through thick and thin to the end, period. The city of London conquered India and China one at a time, piecemeal, which was truly tragic because I don't believe if the Asian subcontinent and powers there had already signed treaties to help fight with each other in a war against this banking beast that they could have lost. I don't think that the dragon could have effectively conquered them all. It would have been more than they could chew. The BRICS want freedom to do things their way for their peoples. And what's wrong with that? That type of sovereignty, which every people needs, is only possible if they hang together and they all know it. And one final point while we're on this. This is exactly why I continue to say that those who suggest that China is simply the new head of the Western banking dragon are barking up the wrong tree. Open your eyes. Look at all of China's actions. China is not joining the sanctions against Russia. In fact, they continue to buy and trade their partner's currency, their partner's LNG, their oil, their potash, their companies, their stocks, their consumer goods. You name it, China's buying it. They also continue to jointly hold military drills with Russia and sign strategic trade treaties. China is even racing to build a new man-made island in the South China Sea to hopefully not only tap the strategic oil resources there, but maybe to even build a naval base or a place to land military planes in which they can choke off at this choke point the Anglo-American forces from the entire Chinese mainland. Okay, this struggle with the Western bankers is a tag team struggle between all the BRICS, China included, and they will tag their beaten down Russian partner's hand, step into the ring, and save the day for them when things really start to become critical. The BRICS members have nearly all lost in battle to the dragon before because they were all picked off one by one, like cherries off a tree. They are not going to allow that to happen ever again. Not this time. This is the Watchman giving another clarion call to the Brotherhood. Stay vigilant and bring the fight to them.